She lay in the tall grass, motionless, bleeding, and barely breathing. Her once majestic wings were folded awkwardly beneath her, and the front of her face gone. What remained was a jagged wound where her beak used to be. Her cries were faint, each one more desperate than the last. And with every passing hour, hope slipped further away. This was Beauty, a bald eagle known for her strength, her soaring flight, and her sharp gaze scanning the skies. But now, she was grounded, broken by the pull of a trigger, and left to die alone. But fate had other plans. Eagles are built for survival. Their curved talons, powerful wings, and razor-sharp beaks make them apex predators. That beak in particular is no small thing. It's how they feed, defend themselves, and even groom their feathers. It's not just a tool, it's their lifeline. So imagine the sheer horror of losing it. In 2005, Beauty was gliding across the sky over Alaska, scanning the forest for her next meal. It was a quiet day, the kind where the wind feels good on your wings. She perched on a tree branch to rest, probably unaware that someone was watching her from below. A poacher. With one heartless pull of the trigger, everything changed. The shot struck her directly in the face, obliterating most of her upper beak. She plummeted from the treetops, crashing hard into the forest floor. The person who shot her? They didn't check if she survived. They just walked away, proud of their kill, never realizing they'd left a living creature behind, clinging to life. For days, Beauty lay in pain, starving and exposed. With no beak, she couldn't eat, couldn't drink, couldn't fend for herself. Each cry was weaker than the last. And then, by some miracle, help arrived. A small animal rescue group happened to be trekking through the area. One of them heard something, a soft rustling in the grass, almost like a whisper. They followed the sound, unsure what they'd find. What they discovered left them stunned. A bald eagle, mutilated, dying. She barely moved as they approached, too weak to resist, her eyes dull but still holding on. Gently, the team scooped her up and rushed her to the nearest wildlife center. Birds of Prey Northwest, a non-profit run by people who knew exactly what they were dealing with. And they were heartbroken. The team named her Beauty because even in her brokenness, she still was. But her odds? Grim. She couldn't feed herself. They had to insert a feeding tube and pump her full of nutrient-rich formula. It wasn't ideal, but it kept her alive. Slowly, she regained strength. She began to move again, just a little at first. They switched to force-feeding her with tweezers. It wasn't much, but it was progress. But one thing was clear. Her beak wasn't coming back. It wasn't healing. It couldn't. And without a beak, she would never survive in the wild again. Never hunt, never eat on her own. If she stopped accepting food, or if she gave up altogether, they'd have no choice but to put her down. It was a decision no one wanted to make, unless someone found a way to do the impossible. Enter Jane Fink Cantwell, a raptor specialist who refused to let Beauty's story end like this. She looked at the eagle, not with pity, but with purpose. Beauty had survived a gunshot, survived starvation, survived everything that should have ended her. That wasn't luck, that was will. Jane was convinced Beauty was meant to live, so she reached out to someone unexpected, Nate Calvin, a mechanical engineer from Kinetic Engineering Group. Jane had a wild idea. What if they gave Beauty a new beak? Not just a patch or a prosthetic for display, but a functional working beak, one she could actually use. Nate was intrigued. Together, Jane, Nate, a team of engineers, and even a dentist, began work on something that had never been done before, a 3D printed beak for an eagle. They studied photos of bald eagles, measured every angle of Beauty's remaining beak, calculated the weight, the bite pressure, the curvature needed for eating and grooming. Every millimeter mattered. After weeks of testing and design, they printed the first prototype using a strong but lightweight nylon polymer. It looked incredible, sleek, sturdy, and shockingly lifelike. Then came the moment of truth. They carefully attached a small metal anchor to Beauty's face to hold the prosthetic. Then came the delicate process of aligning and fitting the beak. The first try? No go. Slight misalignment. Second try? Closer, but still off. The team didn't blink. They recalibrated, adjusted, reprinted, and then, on the third try, it clicked. Literally, the beak snapped into place like it had always been there. In that moment, the room went silent, until Beauty let out a loud, sharp cry. Not a cry of pain, not fear, it was a call of life. The room erupted in cheers. Some team members cried. Others stood in stunned silence, watching this once hopeless eagle made whole again. But the real test was still ahead. Would she use it? They placed food in front of her and stepped back. For a moment, she hesitated. She looked at the team, waiting for the usual hand-fed approach. But this time, they didn't move. And then, slowly, she leaned forward, opened her new beak, and began to eat. She picked up pieces of food with precision. She preened her feathers. She drank water. She lived, without assistance, for the first time in months. Beauty could never go back to the wild. Her new beak, while functional, wasn't strong enough for long-term survival in nature, but she had gained something just as precious: independence. She now lives in the care of Jane and the team that refused to give up on her. Visitors come from all over to meet her, and every time someone sees Beauty, they're reminded of what's possible when compassion meets innovation. Her story has inspired a wave of new efforts in wildlife rehabilitation. Animal prosthetics, once a dream, are now a growing reality, and all because one eagle refused to die, and one team refused to let her. We often talk about second chances like they're rare, but Beauty's story proves that sometimes second chances are built, with determination, love, and a little bit of tech magic. So, what do you think? Was this just an eagle who got lucky, or a miracle in feathers? Let us know in the comments below. And if you believe in second chances, share this story with someone who might need to hear it today. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay inspired.